watching next episode of HomePlaceFlorida.com. This is a website dedicated to real estate. My name is Steve Feller. I'm a realtor in Tampa Bay area, Florida. So this series, like I mentioned before, we're going to answer a lot of questions, and sometimes I will answer it myself, sometimes I'll have a guest in the series. But today's episode dedicated to some of the questions that I often get asked by my clients. For instance, one of the questions that people ask so often when they do offers, say, can I back up out of the contract? Well, simple question is yes, but not really, or not always. It all depends on the contract. It all depends on the contingencies. And most likely, if you decided to back up of the contract, that you're gonna lose money, and those money that you're gonna lose is your earnest money deposit. All right, how does it work? For instance, we're gonna give a real case. For instance, you're the buyer and you're working with a realtor, and you're in the market for the house. Finally, after a few weeks or few months, you found your perfect property that you would like to buy, right? So you're asking your realtor to make an offer, to prepare contract, prepare the offer. That offer gets submitted, and usually here's the circumstances that can be. First of all, most of the contracts and most of the real estate contracts these days, it's used FAR bar as is. What does it mean? That means that a real estate agency who helps the seller to put this property on the market and sell it, trying to protect interest for their client, for seller. So what they do, they have as-is contract. They're asking to write offer on standard FAR bar as-is contract. What does it mean to you? That means when you on the contract and you're trying to find and trying to do inspection, and you actually order the inspection, and for instance you found that roof is damaged, right? It's not visibly damaged, but it's damaged, and let's say it will cost you $20,000 for repairs. All right, so if it would be a regular contract, you can ask seller to fix the roof or give you $20,000 break on a price offered. But as-is contract, technically designed to protect seller from any extra expenses. So let's say you go into a house, you like the house, you made an offer, and after the inspection you discover that house has roof problems or plumbing problems or electrical problems, and that will cost you X amount of money. Let's go back again, $20,000. You can ask your realtor and go back to seller and say, Mr. Seller, here's what happens. We found some defects in the house that will cost us to fix it. Would you like to break down the price down, to reduce the price down to existing conditions, so we can cover our cost to fix it later? And once he's not obligated, he or she is not obligated, seller may say, no, thank you so much, that's what I'm selling for and I don't care. That's the condition when you can walk away from the contract, because this is a condition that says, okay, on the contract there is a provision that you have, and usually this provision is checked in, says that buyer has certain amount of days to conduct professional inspection, and if this inspection doesn't satisfy, you can walk away from the contract, and even if you made your earnest money deposit, you should get it back, and it's absolutely correct. Law will be on your side. But let's say you have instance when you find the property, you made an offer, you made earnest money deposit, and at a certain point you decided, oh well, you know what, I found a better property down the corner and I really don't care about this one. Well, in this situation, imagine what? You're gonna lose money. Most likely we're gonna lose money, because what happens is when you come back to a seller and say, okay, well, I want to back up the contract, he said, why? You made inspection and it satisfied your needs and everything's correct, but what happens? And it could be conversation, point for conversation, but most likely seller will have right to keep their your earnest money deposit. Another situation could be with real estate when you buy a condominium. Condominium apartments, specifically in Florida, Florida state law has specific provision about this, that when you buy condominium, you have 3 business days to review the contract, to review, my apology, not to review to review the condominium documents. And I will list the condominium documents that usually required in under this video, or you can always call me directly and I'll help you I'll give you advice about this. But what happens is 3 days, that's a state law that says 3 days you have to review documents. Let's say you made an offer for the condominium, beautiful condo in front of the beach, everything's beautiful, and you're ready to buy. You asking for the documents and they provide you, and you don't like because there's upcoming assessments of $50,000 coming, and that's mean they will have some project to repair the building, and let's say the roof of the building. And the roof of the building is very expensive, so they divided by number of apartments, and they decided that each owner of the unit have to chip in $50,000. Well, here's the situation. There's a lot of conditions that when you buy, you can ask on the contract, you can ask seller to pay off this $50,000, or you can say, okay, if this $50,000 coming in the middle of when you're closing, so let's say 50-50, so they covered $25,000 and you will be responsible for another $25,000. If not, you can walk away from the contract because you have 3 days to review condo docs, and if you discover something in the condominium documents that does not satisfy you, no question asked, you can take your earnest money deposit and walk away from the contract. If you have any more questions, there's a lot of possibilities. Could be when you can, when you cannot. Also, you can walk away from the contract, for example, if you not get approved for the financing on the property. But again, there's a lot of details into this, so please feel free to contact me. My name is Steve Feller. I'm a realtor with Future Home Realty. My website is homeplaceflorida.com, or you can find me on Facebook/homeplaceflorida. Contact me or call me directly 727-492-6291. Thanks. All right, next question. A lot of people ask me, how can I sell my house, or how can I sell my property? It could be a house or townhome or condominium apartment. Well, while it's fairly simple, it's not, and I would hardly recommend you to basically do not try to do it yourself. Contact a professional like me. If I'm not living in your area, you can contact a professional realtor in your area, but technically what you need to do is to find a realtor who is familiar with this specific area where your property is located. You need to do comparative market analysis, and usually realtors like me will give a lot of recommendations. Go review, do estimates how much property cost, how much could be sold in this specific market condition. What do you need to do to sell this property? Because sometimes properties needs to be staged, and we have the opportunity to stage it physically, or we can stage it digital, which is basically looks very good, except it's only in the pictures. When you walk into an apartment, it's still be empty, or in the house it's still be empty. But when you present this on real estate listing, it will be staged beautifully, and nobody will even notice that it's not real furniture. It's all digital. We have this technology and we can do this. Most important that these days, any real estate property that had to be sold is listed in MLS, multiple listing system. And you're probably aware of this when you go to realtor.com or Zillow or any other systems, that they're all feeding from multiple listing systems, and they're all feeding this data from different real estate systems. Why this is important? This is important because if you just stick a sign in front of your house says, "This house is for sale," I'm not even speaking about the apartments, because in condominiums you most likely will not be allowed to put anything even in the window. That's usually a policy. But and the same thing works about a lot of townhome communities, especially in Florida, that you really cannot place any sign in front of the building. But you need to advertise it, and let's say you need to so how you will advertise? Do you have any connections? Do you understand what price you will ask? That's why it's come handy to have a knowledgeable realtor and sometimes a team of realtors who will help you to present your property, put the right price, and find the right client. All right? So if you have any questions, feel free to call me 727-492-6291 or visit my website for more information. I'm always glad to answer all your questions. It's no obligations, completely free. Just pick up your phone, pick up your computer, text me, or call me directly, and I'll be more than glad to answer your questions. But do not try to sell property yourself. This is it may cost you more because you don't know what you're doing, and because you may not know a lot of details what can happen. Thank you for watching Home Place Florida. Again, my name is Steve Feller. I'm always glad to answer your questions. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to give me a call. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.